So
I have something to show you.
show us. Hello, Betsy.
Let me get my camera on.
And hi, Randy. What is that?
Okay, I'm trying to get it where you can actually read it, and I'm not having much luck. But this is sold in Australia. It's a bag that has like their national flower on it, and in the bottom it says Australian Red Cross.
Oh, that is so cool. It looks really neat. I can't. Oh, wait. Now we can see it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't
that
know.
was so cool. And that's their national flower or their country flower.
Well, it's a symbol of their country. I don't actually know if it's their national flower or not. There we go.
Interesting. Oh, that is so cool. I love it. Thank you for sharing. And where did you get that?
A friend of mine is Australian, and she saw it and said, "Oh, I need to bring that back."
How cool. I love it. Thank you. Does anyone else have any cool Red Cross show and tell stuff? That's a fun way to start the meeting, Betsy. I think maybe we need to implement that into a weekly thing. I love it. Okay, well, welcome everyone to our weekly Northern Nevada Volunteer Opportunities and Updates meeting for Disaster Cycle Services. The meeting is being recorded, so just be aware of that. So anyone who is not joining us can watch at their leisure and also know what is happening in our chapter. So there's always a ton going on, and it seems like more and more things are happening as we get into the calendar year. And what do I mean by that? A lot of preparedness events, a lot of trainings, a lot of community events that you may be invited to participate and join in the fun at. So just be mindful, try and attend these meetings. And then also you can always click on this link that's shared out in the agenda. That's a survey and a form that has all of the different opportunities listed and gives you an opportunity to say, hey, I want to go, I don't want to go, or I want more information about this. And then I review those results each week and reach back out to volunteers who've responded. So if you're interested in something or you're on the fence, let me know via that survey and I'll reach out to you or speak up at this meeting or call me or email me. Any of the above work. Because there is a lot, and I know you guys get bombarded, literally bombarded with a number of emails from different parts of the organization, different people in the region, different people in the chapter, different people from the national level. So I know it can be overwhelming sometimes to have a good understanding of what applies to you, what you may not want to go to, what you may want to go to. I'm always available to answer those questions or to give you a heads up about the things I know about. That being said, sometimes we don't get notice about things more than a week in advance. So if they're not talked about at this meeting, it's because they just kind of were sprung upon us or were scheduled last minute. So I can't say that absolutely everything will be covered at this meeting, but most things that I'm aware of are covered at this meeting. And I do ask that if you are aware of something that I have not included, to please speak up so we can add it and make sure everybody else is aware. So let's get rocking and rolling with what is coming up. On Thursday, we have, and this happens weekly, the Northern Nevada Red Cross team meeting that's hosted by our executive director. Someone from all lines of service is there to talk about what's happening. I talk about what's happening in disaster cycle services. Someone else talks about what's happening in service to armed forces, communications, business operations, etc. So if you're curious about how things happen or what other things are happening in our chapter besides disaster cycle services, please feel free to attend that meeting. It's always in person at the Reno chapter office, or you can attend via the link that's in this agenda. Does anyone have any questions about that meeting? I bring it up each week just because I do want you guys to know it's an opportunity for you. Okay. Also on the 1st at 5:30 p.m., we're having our regional disaster action team meeting. So Jim Rich hosts our local chapter disaster action team meeting on the third Monday of every month, but the region also hosts a disaster action team meeting monthly, and that is where all disaster action team responders from throughout Utah and Nevada are welcome to join in. So it is virtual only, and you can register via the link that is in this agenda. Please note that some of these links require that you be logged into Volunteer Connection. So if you click on the link and it brings you to the login page at Volunteer Connection, it's not because the link is broken, it's because it wants you to be logged into Volunteer Connection to give you access to that registration page. So log in and then try the link again and it should work. Also on February 1st at 6 p.m., we're going to be presenting our Be Red Cross Ready and Hands Only CPR to a homeowners association in South Meadows. So everyone is welcome to support and attend if you're available. It's going to be at 900 South Meadows Parkway in the clubhouse. And I'm going to go do a drive-by probably tomorrow or the following day just to see if there's gate access or anything else that's preventing easy access. If there is, I'll be sure to let everyone know. But please let me know if you're interested in attending so I can make sure you get that important information before you go. And if anyone is interested in presenting, we're always looking for new presenters to support our preparedness team. And one of those programs is the Be Red Cross Ready, and another is Hands Only CPR. Any questions about anything I've brought up so far? I'm speeding through stuff. Okay. On the 2nd, which is Friday, monthly, we have our Washoe County Emergency Managers Breakfast that we are invited to. All of the emergency managers from Washoe County are there. That includes Sparks, Reno, all of the outlying county areas, anything that's not incorporated, and any emergency managers, including those from private industry, that may want to attend and just rub elbows with emergency managers, stay connected in that network. Jim Rich usually attends monthly. Sometimes I'm able to attend. If you would like to join us, if you're interested in government operations or just seeing who the players are, please feel free to join us. It's at Denny's at 205 Nugget Avenue, and you can just show up. Anyone have any questions about that? Okay. On the 6th, which is next Tuesday, we have our weekly preparedness work group meeting, which occurs just before this meeting each week. It's where our preparedness team gets together and we talk about upcoming presentations, preparedness presentations that we have planned in the schools or throughout the community, like the one that we have at the upcoming Homeowners Association. Last week, we did a big event out in Hidden Valley for their homeowners. That's where we talk about these things. The planning goes into them. You'll see a couple of other presentations that are on our agenda as we go through it. And you're welcome. You're welcome to join us at that meeting to check it out. You're welcome to join us at any of the preparedness presentations that I mentioned on this meeting. If you're interested in seeing what our preparedness team does, or if it's in your community and you just want to support the presenters that are there. So lots of different opportunities through our preparedness team, and conveniently right before this meeting if you ever want to join us. And then also we have this meeting at 4 p.m. next week. It is going to be virtual only next week. Our next in-person meeting is going to be in Elko next month. In lieu of going through all of these individual upcoming items that are more than a week out, I encourage you all to review the agenda. I'm going to send it out tomorrow, like I always do, with the recording of this meeting. Couple of things to note where we're going to definitely need some help is on February 16th, we are presenting, I shouldn't say we, Betsy Morse and Gail Bursell, thank you, ladies, are presenting our pillowcase project presentation to approximately 700 students at Fernley Intermediate School. So they are the masters at that presentation, and I enjoy seeing it every single time. But that's a lot of kiddos. So we're going to need help passing out stuff, distributing stuff, possibly with setup, possibly with teardown, and definitely with taking photos. So if you're interested in supporting, checking it out, please let me know. We'd love to have you there. There are going to be 2 assemblies. The first one starts at 9 a.m. The second one starts at 10 a.m. And there's going to be about 350 kids in each. So a little bit of a madhouse, but a lot of fun if you're interested in attending. And we will be carpooling from the Red Cross office if you don't want to drive. So any questions about that super fun event coming up? All right. Well, thank you, Betsy, and Gail. Also, just a quick mention that this is going to happen once or twice each month, is if you're interested in being a duty officer or just checking it out to see if you might want to become a duty officer, you can shadow me each month. I cover 5 12-hour shifts each month. Sometimes they're clustered all together. Sometimes they're split up a bit. In February, I'm going to be doing 2 blocks. So a block on the 18th and the 19th, and then a block on the 25th and 26th. And again, it's a no commitment way to check out what a duty officer does. And just in a nutshell, the duty officer is the one who dispatches our disaster action team responders. But the duty officer covers all of Utah and Nevada. So this past weekend, I was the duty officer, and I had 3 calls that I had to dispatch disaster action team responders to. None of them were in northern Nevada. They were in southern Nevada and Utah. And then 1 call that I didn't dispatch responders to. But if you're ever curious about any of those things, how that works, how we support our teams out in the field, please check it out. You're always welcome. There may be other opportunities to shadow other duty officers, which I will try to share out with you as well. Some important information. So I don't know if you guys have heard the public service announcements on TV and radio, but I've heard them at least on the country radio station. And Red Cross of Northern Nevada received a $19,000 grant from US Bank in Northern Nevada to support our home fire campaign. So I've included a link to the press release here so you guys can check it out at your leisure. But basically what you may, or let's see if it wants to open, what you may or may not hear on our media outlets is, if I can get to it. Sorry, you guys, it's not wanting to open for me. It is. Try something else. My mouse has been taken over by some sort of editing tool that I cannot get rid of. Do you guys see this on my screen, this toolbar at the top?
Yes.
Do you know how I get rid of it? It won't, oh, let's see. It won't let me do anything else. Let's see. It's the craziest thing.
So that arrow on the left doesn't do anything?
It just yeah, it's like a pointer or something.
Yeah.
Maybe if I undo, no.
Maybe you can trash it.
I tried. Clear all in, it clears them, but it won't get rid of the menu. Okay, let's see. And I can't click on anything else either. It's so strange. Okay, you guys, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and see if that helps. I apologize for my technical challenges. There we go. Holy moly. When in doubt, just stop sharing. Okay, so here is, that is not the press release I was looking for. I thought I had clicked on the press release. Let's see. No, sorry, team. I added the wrong link. So, but essentially what it says is that we received a $19,000 grant from US Bank. Woohoo! I don't know what else that means other than we got money and that you're going to hear about it on the media and that our home fire campaign is kicking butt. There's no other way to put it. They are, I think, booked through February now. They're getting a ton of requests for a lot of different reasons, which we're going to talk about a little bit more later. But if you guys know of anybody who needs smoke detectors, please continue to let them know that we install them throughout Northern Nevada, and they may have heard that press release, and it's true. They can also request smoke detector installations and preparedness presentations online. This QR code, if you hold your camera up to it and click the button to take you to the website, will take you right to a form where people can request our preparedness presentations online. We are also going to get a cool QR code like this for our home fire campaign. So it goes right to our home fire campaign smoke detector request form. So I'll share that out at the next meeting. But super exciting stuff. And these tools are working to increase the amount of presentation requests we get. Any questions about that press release or our home fire campaign? Okay. Well, we had a DAT call last week. It was the first one that was in Washoe County this month of January. And being that we're at the 30th, I feel pretty safe in saying that is crazy because normally we see an increase in disaster action team calls in January. And we usually see the majority of our disaster action team calls in the Reno, Sparks, Washoe area. This month has been totally bizarre. We've had 3 in Lyon County, 3 in Carson City, and only 1 in Reno. We've opened 6 cases, given out $4,605 in that initial round of assistance, and supported 26 people. Those calls have been completed by 11 responders. So a lot of different people getting out there, responding to the calls, and supporting individuals throughout Northern Nevada. But typically, and I'm sure the more experienced DAT responders on the call can speak more fluently about it, but we usually see more than this in January because of the dropping temperatures and all of the different factors that go into winter, the longer nights. Betsy, you've been in Red Cross in this chapter for a while and have been on our DAT team for a while. Is this totally bizarre?
Sure is.
Yeah. So one of the things that is going to be talked about, and I'll give you guys a little preview at our next disaster action team meeting, is doing outreach to our fire departments. There's a lot of volunteer fire departments throughout our chapter areas that have a lot of different turnover in volunteers, just like Red Cross does. There's a lot of paid fire departments who also have a lot of turnover. People transfer, move. And the word about Red Cross providing assistance to those who've been displaced by home fires or other disasters is not always relayed from one person to the next. So one of the things that Jim is going to bring up at our next disaster action team meeting is how can our disaster action team work to do outreach to those fire departments, especially in the months when we don't have the responses or the calls like we normally might. I'll let him talk more about that. But if you're interested in doing any type of that outreach, the region's providing us with some cool little magnets that have the direct line for our first responder agencies to reach out to when they're requesting assistance from Red Cross. Please let me know if you're interested in being part of that team. I never want us to get more disaster action team calls because that indicates that there's more people who are, you know, being impacted by disaster. But I do want to make sure that all of those responding agencies do know that we're available to offer that support when it is needed. So reach out to me. Let me know if you're interested in that. As always, I've included the link to our DAT responses for this fiscal year. It looks like this. Not going to go over it in great detail, but basically gives all of the details about our calls, who responded, where they're at. There's a map link so you can see if they're near other calls, that type of thing. So check that out at your leisure anytime. Or if anyone asks you, hey, have you responded to any calls in our area? You can quickly look. Any questions about disaster action team or what's going on? Okay. I talked a bit about our home fire campaign. I like to give an update when I have one. I just know our teams have been crazy busy. I don't have any specific numbers for you this week, but I'm hoping to have some numbers that cover the whole month of January to share with you next week. As always, if you know anyone who can benefit from us coming to their home and installing smoke detectors, inspecting their existing smoke detectors, or just giving them education about home fire safety, please let us know. Have them call this phone number, and one of our home fire campaign team members will get back to them and schedule a time when they can visit their home and go over all of that with them. Also, some exciting news that I found out is that our region was given a bunch of strobe light smoke detectors. So they're similar to the bed shakers in the sense that they're intended to wake people up who may have hearing challenges that may not wake up from a traditional audible smoke detector. And I didn't know. I wasn't really convinced when I heard about the strobe light and it waking me up. So I put a strobe light alarm on my phone without the audio just to see if it would wake me up. And honestly, I think the strobe light wakes me up faster than the audible alarm. And so I'm convinced it's a great solution for those who may have hearing challenges. And I think there's less complications than with the bed shaker smoke alarms. We still have those available. The important thing to remember is anybody who needs a smoke detector of any kind, regardless of their ability, we can install one for them. So have them reach out to that number. Does anyone have any questions about our home fire campaign or our smoke detectors, or what we're trying to do with that? Okay. Since our last meeting, we had our first home, at least since I've been on board, our first monthly home fire campaign monthly work group meeting. So we're going to have those each month on the last Wednesday at 9 a.m. of every month if you're interested in joining us. Or I should say that's the third Wednesday, I think, of every month. I'll make sure you guys have the invitation and know when the upcoming one is coming or is going to happen. But this is for anyone who's interested in supporting our home fire campaign, is curious about it, anything at all. We're also going to be merging that with our post-home fire outreach campaign, which is focusing on areas where we can go hang door hangers or do other outreach after a fire has occurred in that neighborhood and we've responded through our disaster action team. So if you're interested in doing that, I'll keep you updated and we'd love to see you at the next meeting. Also, we had a sheltering boot camp, and I don't think Jocelyn's on the call with us, but was anyone on the call in attendance at the sheltering boot camp? I think it was all online. I might have an update for you next week on that, but look for those boot camps if you're trying to quickly get through any training. That's what a boot camp essentially is. So if it's sheltering, you get through sheltering training quick. If it's a disaster action team, you'll get through that boot camp. You'll get through that quick. If it's feeding, any of those types of things. If it says boot camp, it's intended to get you through the training and deployable as quickly as possible. Also, we had our regional duty officer monthly meeting on the 24th. That's where throughout Utah and Nevada, all of the duty officers get together monthly for a meeting to talk about updates, strategies on what's working, not working, opportunities for people who are training to be a duty officer to shadow, like I talked about earlier, all those different things. I've put a link to the video of the meeting if you're interested in checking it out. Anyone have any questions so far? Crickets, crickets. Okay. Also that evening, and we were out in Hidden Valley. We presented Be Red Cross Ready to 71 people from the Hidden Valley neighborhood. Jim Rich was there. That is his neighborhood. So he was able to say hello to some neighbors, help distribute some items throughout the group. Erica Smith was there taking photos, and we were able to do a news media interview, and I'm hoping they're sharing our home fire campaign smoke detector install phone number with all of the masses that watch Channel 4. Because they gave me quite an opportunity to do a bit of plugging for our preparedness programs and for our home fire campaign. So it was a really cool, fun event. Be on the lookout for events like that. We'd love to see you guys there. The more people in Red Cross shirts, the better. It just shows those communities how much we're supporting them. So let me know if you're ever interested in helping coordinate or plan those type of events, or if where you live are interested in having us come out and do a presentation. That one in particular was in collaboration with Washoe County, Living with Fire, and Truckee Meadows Fire. We all took an opportunity to present and talk about our different aspects in disaster response. So it was a really fun event. Any questions about that? Okay. On the 25th, there were a couple of national sponsored webinars happening. One was for information and planning. They have quarterly webinars. And our transportation team from National, they had a webinar on customer service. Was anyone on the call, or did anyone, I can't talk today. Is anyone on the meeting? Was anyone able to attend those meetings and would like to report out? All right. Sorry, you guys, I'm getting so tongue-tied today. I have no reason for it either. Also on the 25th, I was out in Winnemucca and I attended the Local Emergency Planning Committee, or LEPC, meeting with some of our Central Nevada volunteers, Julie Street and Karen Rogers. And a big thank you to Karen Rogers, who has agreed to work with our emergency manager there in Humboldt County, Carol Lynn, on shelter site agreements and getting those all up to date, and entered into the new web EOC system that's coming. So thank you guys so much for that. If anyone is ever interested in attending their local emergency planning committee meetings, please let me know and I'll connect you with the one that's happening in your county and you can join us. Usually Jim Rich attends, but sometimes it's different volunteers if they're in different counties. I try and attend as many as I can as well. So please let me know if you're interested in supporting those efforts. Does anyone have any questions about our LEPC meetings or the one I attended in Winnemucca? Okay. Also on the 25th was another national transportation webinar. Did anyone attend that wants to report out? Nope, I didn't think so. I don't know that we have too many transportation individuals on our team yet. That doesn't mean you can't join or help build one. On the 26th, we had our regional all hands meeting, which is all of Utah, Nevada. It's a lot of staff members that are on that monthly call, along with volunteer leads from different lines of service. So everyone is always welcome. I'm always going to share the link out. And it's monthly, usually around the end of the month at 9 a.m. On the 27th, another transportation webinar. There was a lot this past week. And on yesterday, thank you to Chico and Jean Held, who attended the monthly garage cleanup and inventory, where we get together, we do an inventory of all of our preparedness items, figure out what we might need more of, And we do just a general cleanup. There was a ton of leaves that blew in the garage yesterday. So thank you, Jean, so much for helping sweep those out and get our place looking ship shape. And we were able to enter all of our inventory numbers into the system by the end of the month, which helps Ashley, who's our regional preparedness manager, have a good understanding of where all of our supplies are, who may need more, and what we can move from one spot to another. So thank you guys so much for helping with that. I know it's a big chore. And our home fire campaign created a lot of work for us because they've been installing so many smoke detectors. We had a lot to move around and count. So thank you guys so much. Today, just before this meeting, I already talked about it. We had our preparedness work group meeting that happens each week, and we talk about all those upcoming preparedness events. So I encourage, again, anyone who's interested in supporting those events or being at them, or just supporting our preparedness team in other ways, please reach out and let me know. There's a lot of coordination that goes into it. So even if you're not a presenter, there's a lot of opportunity to help. Any questions so far about the things that went on last week? There was a lot. Okay. So some places where we need some more team members. I talk about this each week, different things we're working on. Talked a little bit about the fire department outreach. We also need more people on our home fire campaign, which I've brought up a couple of times now, maybe more than a couple. But we need help with outreach, with education, and with people who want to actually go out and do installations. Our teams do an amazing job. They go out every Wednesday and Friday. But if we had more people on the team, we might be able to offer some weekend dates that will work better for some clients who might work full time and not be available on Wednesdays or Fridays to meet with our team. So if you're interested in supporting that team, please let me know. We'd love to have you. The other spot where there's momentum building is for our wildfire preparedness education program. We have 3 events scheduled, one in March, one in April, and one in May, where we're focusing on doing wildfire preparedness education in Mogul in March, in the North Valleys in April, and then in Washoe Valley in May. So a lot of different opportunities to do outreach, help with that education, and then also to present and do property visits. So if you're interested in what that looks like or what that's all about, please reach out to me and let me know. Like I said, we're just at the planning phases and coordinating these different opportunities, and we'd love to have you on board. And it's a great way for you to get out into your community if you live in any of those areas. Any questions about those team member needs? And actually, I need to delete these opportunities, you guys, because I did not have a time to look at the open positions. So I'm going to open them really quickly while we're all on the line and just let you know what different deployment opportunities are available in case you're interested or have the flexibility to go anywhere. So it looks like there are a number of supervisor positions open. Disaster mental health and disaster health services positions and staff health services positions are open for service associates. Let me see where those are. So Maui, there's openings for disaster mental health. For Maui, there's also disaster health services. And that is not open. That's just for the local area. So if you guys are interested, or if you're a supervisor and you're interested in shelter resident transition or disaster mental health, please reach out and let me know. And we can get you deployed. Looks like mainly Hawaii right now is open.
Something happened to your sound.
Can you hear me now, Betsy?
Yes.
How long was I quiet?
Just for like half a minute.
Okay.
You had
I'm
finished
so
talking about Maui.
Okay, so the only open positions are disaster mental health and disaster health services in Maui. If you guys are interested in deploying, let me know. Somehow I accidentally hit my mute button. I don't know. I'm struggling with this toolbar at the top of my menu today. Um, Anyone have any questions though about deployment opportunities or how you show yourself available if you do want to deploy? Okay. I have not added any new requests for board support to this list. This is just kind of a running list we have going. So I'm not going to go over it in great detail because we've already talked about each of these items. But I do want to let you know that there are openings on our board. So if you're interested in being a board member, please reach out to me and I'll connect you with Bruce Berwager, who is leading the committee for that on the board. If you have any ideas or suggestions of ways that our board can help support us in disaster cycle services, please let me know. We can add it to this agenda, and then I talk about it at the weekly Lines of Service meeting, and I can also bring it up to the board directly or through their committees. Um, they also have a number of committees. And Betsy, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to put you on the spot for a second because you've been on a number of board committees and can just talk about like what the committees do a little bit and what your experience has been. And a little plug if volunteers want to be part of committees, because I know it's more than just board members.
Well, right now the committees are actually sort of reinventing themselves. Tiandra has a slightly different vision than Mary, and Mary really revitalized the committees. Um, and so the one I can talk about the best is the mission committee that I'm on. And when I first went on it about 3 years ago, maybe a little more, it all blends together. Mostly we were concerned with how do we get the metrics better. Every anniversary of your being in the Red Cross, you're sent a survey. And it turns out if you don't give the Red Cross a 9 or 10 in everything, it counts against the chapter. And so how did we what do we do to make people have a better Red Cross experience? But now what's being talked about, and I think the direction we'll go with the mission committee, is how specifically do we create more opportunities for people to get together, not necessarily for disasters or to give presentations, but just more events where we can be together as a group of people who have a common interest and just get to know each other better. So it's almost like becoming like a party committee.
Okay.
So we need people who really love doing that sort of thing, because I think there are a lot of opportunities, and it shouldn't be a matter that Sherry has to come up with the Christmas party as she did, the holiday party as she had to this year. And so I think the mission committee is thinking that this is an area where they need to be doing more. They also have been good about trying to talk to the other board members about really trying to improve our presence in some of the outlying counties, because some of our board members do have reaches into White Pine County and Humboldt and some of these other counties where we may not have as big a presence as we would like. And then there are a number of other committees, but that's just the one that I know the best. So we're the group who was sending out notes to people, just thanking them for their Red Cross service. We haven't done that this year, but in the past we had done it. And just trying to make sure that we weren't losing people, that we knew why people were leaving if they were leaving, and that the ones who came, trying to do whatever we could to make sure that they had a good experience with the Red Cross.
Excellent. Thank you. And so there's the mission committee, which Betsy just talked about. which sounds like it's going to be focusing a lot on getting us all together for those just hangout times, and getting to understand what our personalities are a little bit better. So thank you so much for that, Betsy. I really appreciate it. There are other committees. There's a development committee, there's a philanthropy committee, and they all have different focuses. And it sounds like they would all like more participation. So if you're interested, please reach out to me and let me know, and I'll connect you with Tiandra, or I'll connect you with the person who leads that committee, so you can participate. Any questions for Betsy or me about the board or committees? Okay. Well, we're reaching the end of our meeting, everyone. I think this is a record because I'm such a chatty Cathy, but I think we're going to be done by 4:45 today. Just those final reminders. Please remember to record your hours if you do anything Red Cross related that counts. Or if you want to wait 90 days to do that, you'll get a call from me because I'm prompted when a volunteer reaches a 90-day mark of not being active to get a shout out and a heads up and say, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Are you still wanting to be part of Red Cross? So I'm happy to give you that call with or without you entering hours, but it will happen if you don't enter them. Also, please update your availability if you would like to deploy anywhere at any time. If you know you have a block in June where you might be available to support hurricanes, that's when they start happening every year. So put in your availability as you know it, even far out, and that will just make it that much easier for when something happens for the national team or the regional team to deploy you to that disaster. Anyone have any questions about entering hours or availability? Okay. We're still confirming whether our next in-person meeting is going to be on February 13th or February 20th, but it is definitely going to be one of those two dates in Elko. And right now, some volunteers out there are helping me organize. So more details will be shared with you next week because we're meeting about it tomorrow. Before we end the meeting, does anyone want to bring up anything else? Is there anything I forgot to mention or anything you would like to mention or any shout outs you would like to give?
We might mention the mass casualty incident response class that I think is on Thursday and then repeated next week.
Ooh, thank you, Betsy. I do remember seeing that email and I didn't have an opportunity to add it to the agenda. So thank you. These are the exact things I'm talking about, helping me remember. So you are absolutely right, Betsy. So it is also on Thursday, February 1st. That is a busy day, but it is from 10 to 11 a.m. And they're hoping to prepare for a potential emergency response that might be required during the Super Bowl. I don't know what that numeral number is because I don't remember my Roman numerals, but it's something large. And they're bringing in some knowledgeable folks to share information and teach us about the proper process for handling a mass casualty incident. So we certainly hope nothing doesn't happen at the Super Bowl, but whenever there is a big event like that that's going to occur in our region, you're going to see different trainings and things like that, and a call out for availability potentially to say, hey, are you available to respond if something does happen at this event? So if you're able to attend on the 1st, which is Thursday from 10 to 11 a.m., all of the details I will add to the agenda. So when I send it out tomorrow, you can just use a link to register. Thank you for that, Betsy. Anything else, you guys, that I might have forgotten? Okay. We'll always be on the lookout for things on the agenda that may come across my plate after we've had this meeting or that I forgot to include, like that last one. I do want to give one last shout out before we go to Mike Doro and Jim Rich. We did not have a response over the weekend, but we did have one of our shelter trailers used in Carson City. They had a behavioral health center down there that was without power, and they had to relocate some individuals. They utilized some of our cots, which they cleaned and put back in working order, and then some of our blankets to support the individuals who were displaced during that power outage. Mike Doro very quickly yesterday, right after we found out they were done with our stuff, went down, did an inventory of the trailer, replaced the blankets so that our Carson City shelter trailer is ready to rock and roll. Huge shout out to Jim Rich because he was the one who coordinated access to our trailer and all of the different complications that come with that over the weekend. So thank you guys so much, and thank you all for attending. I look forward to seeing you next week, if not before. Take care, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.